I'm sure you've been patiently waiting on the edge of your seat for us to rip apart Arsenal after this weekend, and you will not be disappointed. I will rip them apart. I will rip them limb from limb as they fell limpless to Chelsea this weekend, all but just eradicating their title chances. Not like they maybe weren't in with a shot before. Like, I thought that their title chances have kind of been declining. But I think they're completely out of the race now. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to give Liverpool a pass. They fell against a weaker opponent again, and they are out of the title race as well. But
there is no title. There's no race.
Yeah, there's no race if history is anything to go by. Chelsea usually will have this wrapped up, and this is a Chelsea that's full force going forward, looking good. Eden Hazard, phenomenal, one of the best goals of this season so far. I think there's a good case to be made that Chelsea will go forward and win this. Tottenham's still there, or thereabouts.
Tottenham's scary at home.
Yeah.
They're very beatable. They're extremely beatable away from home. I don't think they've lost at home.
Yeah.
They've only suffered some draws, and they've been victorious every time. So White Hart Lane's a tough place to play, which makes sense. But I don't know. Tottenham, to me, like their chance was last year to try to catch Leicester City, who, speaking of winless, in 2017.
1 point away.
That's harsh, but again, but I know they're 1 point away from relegation, but they're also like a week away from going to the Champions League round of eight. They're in the 16, but just one good game and boom, set up a nice advantage, and
everyone will forget that a potential championship team could be going to the Champions League latter stages. How funny would the story like that?
What if it's a long con?
Yeah, it would be fantastic. But
quickly, could I show you Antonio Conte's reaction to Eden Hazard's goal?
I would love to see it.
He was really excited.
He is excited.
Oh, I think that's Conte's best of the season.
3-0, that was to put them up. But this season it's just going to mirror the last few, and it's because of numerous things, right? They don't have enough leaders in the middle of the park, which Xhaka was supposed to come in and be the man to do it, but where was he again? Oh yeah, he was sitting on the sidelines because he didn't have the discipline to keep himself focused on the game, and that's just a small issue, but you know where that discipline comes from? It comes from the very top, and that's all to do with mentality. Don't look at anything else apart from mentality. There is a mental block that trickles down this team, and it comes from that man at the very top who loves to make fucking excuses. Arsen Wenger, press conference after the game, Jason. Do you think you're out of the title race, Arsen? Oh, well, Chelsea, they don't have to play in Europe, so blah, 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 blah. Your shit, your team, your focus, you have to go. It has to be, it's time. Everything you've done in the past, fantastic. Great job, Arsen Wenger. You led that team to historic years. Early on, almost 20, how many years? Jesus Christ. You do the math. No longer can this Arsenal team run the same system year by year under this man's guidance. It's not going to fix it immediately, but how much more proof do you have that this team's mental block stems from the top down? Arsene Wenger does not know how to manage this team to success anymore. That's it. And its excuses are there every time. It's the other team's fault. It's what they're doing. It's the fact that they have more time. Chelsea, you haven't played in the Champions League in how many weeks? And you're saying that Chelsea, because they don't need to focus on Europe, that's why they beat you 3-1? That's a fucking limp excuse.
And I don't like the one. It was a 91st minute goal. It was 3-0 throughout that whole match. You're talking about, I know what the final score said. I get the goal differential of it, but it was a 3-0 match and they swept the floor with them. The only counter I could really think of to Arsene Wenger still being there, because it seems like if you go back, I looked up over, what was it, about last week, it was like 2008 they started actually saying, is it time for him to go? That was a long time. I was in high school, for some perspective. I didn't have my license. I couldn't drive a car when they started with these rumors. And then, they had these mediocre finishes for Arsenal's sake, for the checks that they're cashing, for all these things that happened. Where I'm confused is, if they're going to bite the bullet and let go of Wenger, they just lost out on the opportunity to hire one of these three managers, Jurgen Klopp, who probably could have done a good job. At least comparatively what he's doing with Liverpool, it would have been good for Arsenal, I would think. Even better would be Pep Guardiola. Even better would have been who they just played. Antonio Conte.
What a great
So it seems like as they keep holding on to Wenger, it's not like managers that are great at what they do just appear out of nowhere. I know it sounds harsh, but I'm confused as to why Arsenal wouldn't say F you to Wenger. Is it Wenger? Wenger? Whatever. It's not like his history's going anywhere. It's not like people are going to just like forget that Wenger's going to be known for the Invincibles, I would think, as of anything else, right?
Yep.
So why not jump on the opportunity to bring in one of those managers? Because I'm trying to think of who's out there this year coming up. Not anybody to the likes of Conte, Guardiola, Klopp.
There's not great managers just falling out the sky.
And there were.
There were,
For
at
like
that point.
18
They're not
months,
anymore.
they could just
Exactly.
pick them from the tree.
And a lot of the time, people are like, we missed the chance because Guardiola could have played the Arsenal style. The Arsenal style should not
What
even
style?
be considered anymore. What style? Exactly, what style?
When I was watching, anytime I watch the Arsenal, the recaps, I don't wake up at 4:30 in the morning, but when I do catch them at 9 o'clock in Champions League play and Premier League play, I don't think they have an identity. Like, it's purely observational. I watched Chelsea, right? And compared to them in 2014, it looked like Diego Costa keeps the ball low. Keeps it low, makes sure to, he's strong, he will not be bullied off the ball, and Eden Hazard is playing everywhere now. You see him, he's in the middle of the park, he's making runs, he's on the right wing, he's on the left wing. I like that. When you watch, I need one more example. When you watch Manchester City, you see the triangles that you always explain. There's still an identity. They don't look great, but there's an identity to them. Arsenal, I don't know what they're doing. And it's confusing because you try to, continue to watch a team and see what develops over time, and it just seems like, in my opinion, somebody gets hot, let's run with them, make sure they stay hot, and then they cool off and they go, oh, shit, no one else is hot, what do we do? Giroud's not scoring 5 goals in 5 matches, what are we supposed to do now? Wait for Sanchez to score 5 goals in 5 matches?
They rely on those games of form where, all right, we're looking fantastic because Alexis Sanchez looks like the best player in the Premier League, but you can't just rely on that because it's hard in the Premier League to remain consistent, and that's why when Diego Costa has a little hissy fit, throws his toys out the pram, Chelsea come out the next game and they win very comfortably. Pedro scores, they get other players stepping up, and you're right, one thing you mentioned about Hazard, it wasn't Hazard's attacking ability that outshone every single Arsenal player. His effort, his defensive capabilities, getting behind the ball. When's the last time you seen Mesut Ozil track back? I didn't see it. When Theo Walcott lost his man for Marcos Alonso's goal, he wasn't tracking back. It's a mentality thing. You can bring in all these other players because they've got world-class players. Sanchez on his day is the best player in the Premier League. Mesut Ozil is a phenomenal player. But they lack leaders that are going to reignite this team when they go 1 goal down or when they're struggling. And that is a problem that stems from management. Because every single player in Chelsea's team want to play for that jersey. Yeah. They're all N'Golo Kantes when they lose the ball. They want to make sure.
I was going to mention not just N'Golo Kante. I just thought one of the biggest takeaways is they hunt the ball down like terrifyingly. Look, if that's even a word. They look like, I guess, a wolf pack because they smell blood. And they hunt, they chase down. Players seem like they're in different parts of the pitch that you're not expecting. Center attacking mids are playing defensively. Defensive wingers are playing up the park. And they don't get tired because they're just thriving off those goals. And every time they go, it's not 1-0, that's not enough. It's not 2-0, that's not enough. It's 3-0, which is different than the Chelsea from 2 years ago. Because the Chelsea 2 years ago were coming away with 1-0 defensive play. This year, they're just coming after you.
And the reason why we're going to focus more so on Arsenal in this is because, as we mentioned, Liverpool bottle it. They've had a horrible January. I ripped them apart, and now it's carrying into February. It's been really bad. The season's basically going down the toilet, and Liverpool fans will be aware. The worst thing for any fan is hope. And Liverpool fans had hope, and now it's going to be torn away. So they are already hurting enough. Arsenal fans, they no longer have hope. They just expect this to happen. And that's the bottom line. So that's why I'm ripping Arsen Wenger about, because he's not a new, fresh manager into his second full season the way Jurgen Klopp is. No, he has had his second full decade.
Second full season in the afterlife.
So there's other problems that go in. If you look at Arsenal's midfield, they've had 16 central mid combinations this season. 16, man.
Could you name them
Jesus,
all?
no. I don't know who, because they have to rely on Aaron
half?
Ramsey. And then he's got muscle issues, so he comes out. And then you've got Cazorla, who goes out injured. Because he has no sense of consistency in that team and no system, as you mentioned, where someone seamlessly fits in and you're like, all right, let's get this back going. And the leaders are lacking. Patrick Vieira was by no means a saint out there, but you needed him. And Xhaka's maybe looking at him and being like, all right, I can be that guy. But you don't just go out there and get suspended for several games this season already, because that's going to be a problem when you don't have anyone else to come in and fit. And that's where your manager needs to be stepping in and putting his foot down and making sure that this team is playing for each other. And that's where I see Chelsea. The players coming off the bench are coming in to try and do the same job. They might not be as talented, but when you can get a season out of Victor Moses, who's been discarded by every other team in their fridge, and you get a season out of him because he works hard for you and he wants to do the job, and he outshines your Mesut Ozils, who's the world-class players, that's when you know there's a problem. Higher up, man. If you're at a CEO and your company's providing a negative return every single year, how long do you just stand by that? If you're in America, maybe quite a few, and you maybe get a promotion.
You got to Steve Ballmer it, man. You got to run out on that stage. We can throw that clip in. Let's go!
Yeah, he's
crazy, man.
Some sort of motivation that's needed. But I don't know, man. It's I feel like we've made our point. It's Arsenal fans are getting tired of it. Some of them are still holding on for dear life and thinking that Wenger will be able to deliver them back something. But the last 2 seasons in the Premier League, 2 of the greatest opportunities that you could have had to try and cement your place as a team to go forward and win. You have a season where Leicester go on and win, and then you have a season where everyone and their dog has got a new manager, a new system to go and play with, and Chelsea have just grabbed it with both hands. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's not an advantage that they don't have European football. By no means, that is an advantage.
Played European
but
football
that's
for,
exactly.
You said it for 2 months.
If this game happened in like the middle of October when everyone's playing, and I'd be like, okay.
Hey, I just got to
understand.
First of all, a lot of good teams have European football. Bayern Munich has European football coming up. Are they going to have any excuses if they play against
Real Madrid.
Arsenal? Real Madrid won European football. Pepe haven't stopped winning for a year.
Yeah,
they don't seem too tired.
It's a really empty, cowardly response.
Ooh.
That's the only way to use it. And he might have used it in a kind of passing tone, but I don't miss that anymore because he's been doing it for 7-8 years. Whenever he plays against Stoke, the olden days when they would batter them, they weren't out there playing football. Well, there's a difference, Arsene. Football's not just about the way you play it, my friend. Other teams can play it the way they want to if they can go and win, as have Chelsea have done. Adjusted. And you need to adjust, the board needs to adjust, and they need to get you out. And as for your point earlier, Jason, see what happens with Atletico this year. Maybe Diego Simeone could be on the market.
That's a really good one. I'd like that.
And he does not play
Arsenal.
Arsenal's
Do you know who he'd bring with him? Karim Benzema from Real Madrid.
And then he'll bring every other who is predicted to come. Antoine Griezmann.
It's going to happen. It's the John Stones of transfers.
Completely off topic to finish with. It's been a good clip so far. But do you see Sergio Aguero's quote today?
No.
My job is to help this team in the next 3 months. And then after that, we'll see what the club wants to do with me. That is huge.
God, I love drama, man.
That is drums. Sergio Aguero, arguably one of the best finishers in the Premier League.
Drama.
Could he be moving elsewhere? Let us know in the comment section below.
That's the biggest. That's a bigger. Huge. That's a little bit. That's about Griezmann's status, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Not more.
If you're an Arsenal fan and you just could not sit through this clip without commenting angrily, don't just leave it in the comments. Come on and rip us apart on Twitter. Francis_Maxwell on Instagram. Francis M Maxwell.
Please.
And on Instagram and Twitter, Jason Rubin 91.
I'm here all day.